This is my second video describing the initial issues of my 2022 Tiffin 24 RT. If you looked at my first video, you'll see how this was one of the first Tiffin Midases produced. And I felt that I had a prototype. Perhaps this was meant for shows, but there were some serious problems with electrical systems. And in the second video, it's more minor issues. They're not showstopper issues, just inconveniences and things of that nature. In this video, like the first one, these were problems all remedied by Tiffin. They did a great job of fixing those, and hopefully they've learned and that future models won't have these issues. So if you're looking at buying a Tiffin Midas, and as you go through the inspection, you should look at both my videos here to make sure none of these issues occur to you and that they've been remedied before that. So let me start off. First one, the first issue I've had, the minor issue, was replacement of the rear compartment storage door. Now, the initial design had a single latch in the middle, and it wouldn't stay latched. I was concerned about it opening up down the road. When I went to the Tiffin Service Center, they said, well, they're currently designing these with latches on the left and right side of the door. That was their current design. And so they completely replaced my door and used these latches. And since traveling thousands of miles, it hadn't been a problem. The door stays very secured. I can lock it also. Second item here. That rear hatch, the struts they initially used were too light in weight. They didn't have enough force, especially in cold weather. The latch would come down on my head, so they replaced those struts. Number three, we noticed this when we were looking at pictures from the dealer before we purchased it, that there were unnecessary holes drilled in the faces of the outside storage compartments. It appeared if they had used a template to drill holes for the doors, the door hinges, and then they decided, oh, that wasn't good enough, we'll move over to 1/2 inch. Well, Tiffin ended up putting Bondo to seal up those holes, sanding it over, repainting it, so now it looks like they never were there. Number four, since this is a full body paint motorhome, they had painted over the rubber gaskets around the forward passenger and driver's side doors. And as we started using those handles, it kind of pinched the paint and started flaking off. So working with Tiffin, it was decided that the paint would be removed from the entire rubber gasket around the door handle, and that was a great fix because it looks really good now. Number five, when the Tiffin Midas had originally been painted, there were some excessive runs of clear coat up in the top cap running down from the marker lights. Well, it was an easy fix for Tiffin to buff those out, and it looks great now. Number six, the outdoor water pump. It didn't work. It didn't work properly. Tiffin looked into it and found that it had not the right circuit or something, and the spider hadn't been added, the certain module. Once they added it, it worked flawlessly since then. Number seven, there was no outside coaxial cable connection for me to tie into, let's say, a commercial RV place where they have cable TV. And so they found that cable and put the proper mounting in the, and that's in the water-based system. Number eight, perhaps related to that, was the antenna booster. It allows you to switch between the antenna and cable systems. That didn't work properly. So after they worked on the coaxial system, all those systems were fixed. Number nine, tank levels. All the tank levels, from the freshwater, the gray water, the black water tank, I wasn't happy with how accurate they were. Tiffin did some adjustments to those levels. They're very sensitive external level sensors. It's sensitive in that you put your hand next to it, it will indicate a level. If there's any metal near it, it will indicate a level. Tiffin did some adjustment of those. They basically prime off and then they re-glue them. I may have to do some fine tuning, so that was a partial win, but we still have more work to do. Number 10. We encountered this when we first picked up the Tiffin, is that as you're putting water in the kitchen sink, everything worked fine. Then after a few minutes, the sink would start filling up, and then all of a sudden it would completely empty very rapidly, and it would be blasting out of the bathroom sink. Well, what it was is that Tiffin went in, and they knew this kind of problem occurs. There are some, I'll call it vacuum caps, vacuum breaker fixtures underneath the kitchen and bathroom sink, and they had to adjust those. Now, I've got a picture here of a gray water tank from a Wayfarer that was outside their service center, and you can see these are very unusual tanks. At least they're unusual to me. There's a big reservoir that sits basically in front of the rear wheels on the driver's side, and that's where the shower and bathroom sink empty. And then there's a slab, say 2 or 3 inches thick and 2 feet wide, that goes the width of the motorhome and allows the kitchen sink into there. So perhaps the design of the tank, perhaps of these little vacuum breakers in the drain system, but whatever they did fix that problem, and it hasn't reoccurred. Number 11, the bathroom light went out after a few miles of ownership, and that was described to me as basically the wire that went to the spider control had fallen out. So thanks for watching. That completes my video on minor issues that Tiffin repaired for me. Look forward to my next video, which will be describing some of the improvements I've made and also how I tackled my freshwater tank volume issue, in that it's only given me 20 out of 30 gallons. In my first video, I described how Tiffin tackled that problem, but they didn't completely solve it, and now I've got a solution to finally solve that. So until next time, thank you.